the stories, news, and sports you won't hear anywhere else. The Alberta Morning News returns with Peter Watts on News Talk 770.
Back with you at 21 minutes to 8 o'clock on the Alberta Morning News. The Economic Development Association of Alberta is holding its annual convention in Kananaskis this weekend. Pretty interesting agenda, and Leann Hackman-Carty, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the EDA, is on the phone with us this morning. Hi, Leann.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How has the conference gone?
Oh, it was very successful. It actually wrapped up about noon yesterday, and we had about 370 delegates here, over 30 speakers, whether they're plenary speakers or panelists, and then 20 partners that we partner with every year. So it was very successful.
Very nice. Tell me what the economic developers do.
Our association is really the professional association for anyone who's doing economic development in the province. So it's similar to, say, doctors have their association, teachers have their association. This is specifically for economic developers. So these are people who are working in communities, helping businesses expand or retain businesses in their community if things happen where there's, industries that shut down, or they're looking for investment. So those are the people on the front lines.
It's a pretty important job, it seems to me, in a province that periodically runs into a problem in its number one sector, and that's the oil and gas industry, and looks to diversify the economy. I dare say people are galvanized by a call to see that happen again.
No, I think, it's funny, during good times, economic developers, people don't really notice they're around. And then when things get bad, they go, well, what the heck is happening? Where are you? What are you doing? So, that was part of the message, that we heard. I mean, we had Todd Hirsch do his economic forecast yesterday, and he spoke about, obviously, everybody is wondering about the oil and gas industry and where it's going and how that's going to impact our communities and the ripple effects. But he did say, there are industries in 2015 that are poised to do very well. Things like the forestry sector, he said, is going to be hiring. They need people. Agriculture, he said, cattle prices are record high. Tourism, he said, with the softer Canadian dollar, you're going to have more Americans coming across the border this summer. He said the challenge with the tourism sector is going to is finding people for the hospitality industry, finding staff. And then, so even when there are times of a bit of a slowdown in one sector, you are seeing that there are some uptakes in other sectors. And so, everything is temporary, as we know, in Alberta, and it's just how do you manage that kind of critical time when things are not so great, when they're just slowing down.
Is it possible to identify some areas for potential growth where you can create the critical mass that's necessary in terms of a number of companies in a particular sector, where there's an opportunity for perhaps some new economic development somewhere in the province?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I think that our profession has really changed over the years. I think traditionally, say in the 80s, you saw people, they'd go take a delegation somewhere and try and bring a big factory here. Well, that just doesn't work anymore. That's not how economic development happens. I mean, it really does happen at the grassroots. Our message to our members is saying, you have to first and foremost understand who's in your community. Go out and talk to every single business in your community. Understand who they are, what they do, where their challenges are, where their opportunities are, and how you can help them achieve what they're trying to do. Because you may find that, say, 10 businesses in your community need a certain type of product or service. Well, there's an opportunity for either your local community to do that, to generate a new type of company, or to bring in someone like that. So, one of those things I think, and this is a great time to do it, is to spend the time talking to people. I mean, it might be an innovative technology that could be even started within your own community, or it might already be there. You don't know. So I think that was part of our message, too, to our members, is really focus right now on that business retention and expansion piece.
Every time I read something about public-private partnerships, it's invariably critical comments because of perceived shortcomings in the system. Do they work? Are there any examples? And I take note of the fact that this was one of the topics on the agenda this week.
Well, actually, that was our whole theme was partnerships for prosperity, and so we actually explored, various industry, government, private-public partnerships, nonprofit, even we had the Indian Business Corporation here, so they fund Aboriginal businesses. So, we looked at various things. Our actual opening plenary speaker was Jeremy Goldberg out of San Jose. And the reason we brought him up is they're doing a very innovative public-private partnership model in the U.S., and it started in Chicago, and it's called the Civic Consulting Alliance. And they are doing some very cool stuff when it comes to working with government, working with the nonprofit sector, and really, instead of working against each other, it's actually working together with corporations and helping understand how can we play a very critical role in dealing with specific issues given limited resources. And I think that's really the ways of the future, is looking at models like that, because no one group can do it alone. It's just, government can't, it's not sustainable to keep going, spending. You just can't. At some point, you got to look for new ways to do things.
Well said. Leann Hackman-Carty, the Chief Executive Officer for Economic Developers here in Alberta. Leann, thank you.
Thank you.